Thank you for your hard work today as well. This channel is a reading channel for sleeping. Before you go to bed, I will read with all my heart so that you can have a comfortable time. This time, it is the representative work of Niimi Nankichi, Niimi. Please enjoy the nostalgic atmosphere somewhere. This time, I will deliver it with the sound of the waves, which is said to be safe and sound. The sound of the waves is said to have the effect of relaxing and stress relief. By adding the sound of the waves, I hope you will have a more comfortable time before you go to bed. This channel also reads stories that can sleep. Please subscribe before you faint. Good night. Nankichi Niimi Nankichi. This is a story I heard when I was a child from an old man named Mohei in the village. Once upon a time, there was a small castle near our village called Nakayama, and there was a lord named Nakayama. In the mountain a little away from Nakayama, there was a fox named Gon. Gon was a lone fox. He lived in a forest full of thorns and dug a hole in it. And at night or during the day, he would come out to the village and play pranks. He would go into the field and dig up potatoes, or light a fire on a pine tree. He would go into the field and dig up potatoes, or light a fire on a pine tree. And he would go into the field and dig up potatoes, or light a fire on a pine tree. And he would go into the field and dig up potatoes, or light a fire on a pine tree. And he would go into the field and dig up potatoes, or light a fire on a pine tree. As the toil of hanging crops was CCM work, he found pieces of hamale waterproof for people to use. He would provide 240 pieces per day of the money passed through trouble until today. When Gon was such a little cow, he don't drink water but made for a baby. And he often had a bad habit of spitting. And he was such a little cow, he'd not drink water but made for a baby. Gon was relieved and came out of the hole. The sky was clear and the Mozu's voice echoed. Gon came out to the village riverbank. There was still a raindrop of rain in the area of the Mozu. The river usually has little water, but it was raining for 3 days, and the water was increasing. The Moza and the Mozuka, which are not used in water at ordinary times, were soaked in yellow and muddy water. Gon walked down the road to the riverbank. Suddenly, he saw someone in the river doing something. Gon tried to avoid being found, but he was surprised. He walked to a deep place in the grass and looked at it from there. He thought, it's a Moza. The Moza wrapped a ragged black kimono and dived into the water to the point of his waist, but he could not see anything. The water from the water came out from this Mata, spoken to Gon. Out to the river. The Moza looked at the raindrop. I lifted it up from the water where it had become like a bag. Among them were the roots of the leaves of the grass, and the rotted branches, but some white things were shining. It was the belly of a thick eel and the belly of a big kiss. Hyuju put the eel and the kiss into the well with the garbage. Then he tied the mouth of the bag again and put it in the water. After that, Hyuju said, I will go up from the river with the kiss and leave the kiss in the well and go to the river bank to look for something. When Hyuju was gone, Gon jumped out of the grass and ran to the side of the kiss. He was so scared that he wanted to play a prank on him. Gon grabbed a fish in the well and threw it into the river of Shimote from where the hook was caught. All the fish jumped into the water while making a sound. Gon said, I want to go up from the river. Hyuju said, I don't want to go up from the river. Gon said, I want to go down from the river. Hyuju said, I have a ball and I want to go to the river to play a prank. Gon said, I can do it. Hyuju said, I can do it too. Gon said, I can do it too. The eel went away and wrapped itself around Gon's neck. As soon as that happened, Hyuju shouted from the other side, wow, what a slimy fox. Gon was surprised and jumped up. He tried to shake off the eel and run away, but the eel did not leave Gon's neck. Gon just jumped out and ran away with all his might. He looked back under the half-tree near the hole, but Hyuju did not chase after him. Gon was relieved and crushed the eel's head, and finally removed it and put it on the leaf of the grass outside the hole. About 10 days later, Gon was passing through the back of the house of an old man called Yasuke, and he saw Yasuke's wife in the shadow of a branch of a tree. When he passed through the back of the house of a housekeeper, the wife of the housekeeper was combing her hair. Gon thought, there is something in the village. I wonder what it is. Is it an autumn festival? If it is a festival, it seems that a drum and a flute will be played. Besides, There should be a climb to the first Omiya. Thinking about such a thing, I came to a place where there was a red well in front of me, in front of Hyuju's house. In that small, almost broken house, a large number of people were gathered. The women in the kimono on the other side, with their hands down on their hips, were burning a fire in the furnace in front of them. In a large pot, something was boiling. Oh, it's a funeral. Gon thought. Someone in Hyuju's house must have died. After lunch, Gon went to the village cemetery, and was hiding in the shadow of the 6 o'clock statue. It was cold. It was a good weather, and in the distance, the roof of the castle was shining. In the cemetery, the sunflowers continued to bloom like a red mist. From the side of the village, a bell rang. A bell rang. There was a sound of a bell. A bell rang. The bell rang. It was an indication to say, a funeral was coming. Soon, the white kimono wore the people of the funeral came to visit them. I could see it clearly. I could see it clearly. The voice of the story became closer. The voice of the story became closer. The funeral came into the cemetery. The funeral came into the cemetery. The funeral came into the cemetery. After the people passed by, the sunflowers were stepping on them. Gon tried to get up. Hyuju wore a white kamishimo and offered him alms. He always had a cheerful face like a red sweet potato, but today he was a little worn out. Mom, Hyuju's mother is the one who died. Gon thought so and pulled his head in. That night, Gon fell into the hole. Gon thought so and pulled his head in. Hyuju's mother must have said that she wanted to eat eel. So Hyuju brought out a wire net. However, I played a prank and took the eel. That's why Hyuju asked his mother to feed him eel. But he couldn't do it. As it was, his mother must have died. Ah, he must have died thinking that he wanted to eat eel and eel. Ah, I should have played such a prank. I shouldn't have been scared. Good job children, we did it anyway. Now, his mother is also alone. He looked worried but I was here. You're still alive. We are alive. This is for you. Is it a lone leopard? Gon, who was looking from behind this house, thought so. Gon goes to the other side of the house, and when he goes over there, he hears a voice selling sardines somewhere. It's a sardine selling sardines. It's a sardine that has a good breath. Gon ran towards the sardine selling sardines with a good voice. The sardine seller said from behind the house, "Give me some sardines." The sardine seller said, he put the car full of sardines in the roadside and grabbed the shining sardines with both hands and brought them into Yasuke's house. Gon grabbed 5 or 6 sardines from the basket in the gap and ran towards the north. And then, he threw sardines into the house from the back door of the house and ran back to the hole. When he looked back on the hill on the way, he saw that the sardines were still chopping the wheat in the well. Gon was so proud of the eel. He said, "I thought I did a good thing." The next day, Gon picked up a bunch of sardines in the mountains and carried them to Hyuju's house. When he looked out of the back door, Hyuju was having lunch and was thinking in a daze while holding a bowl. He was taking your son for a journey on a trip, it would be nice to leave a message. Then, when he found her drawing a wonderful picture, he laughed at her and said, "What a sprinkle girl we have. I've done everything, I saw the result, I know if I'm wrong in time, I wonder if he left something in my house. Thanks to that, I was thought to be a thief, and I was badly treated by the man from the Iwashia. I'm saying." Gon thought this was closed. Poor Hyuju, he was beaten by the Iwashia and even got such a wound. Gon thought so, and slowly went around to the storage room and left the chestnut at the entrance. The next day and the next day, Gon picked up the chestnut and brought it to Hyuju's house. The next day, he brought not only chestnuts, but also 2 or 3 pine nuts. 4. It was a good night. Gon went out to play. 5. When he passed under the castle of Lord Nakayama, he heard someone coming from the other side of the narrow road. He heard someone talking. The pine nuts were singing. The pine nuts were singing. Gon was hiding on the other side of the road, and he was still. Then he heard a serious voice. Well, that was Hyuju and Kasuk. That voice became close. It was the undeveloped Shopasisis sagist, Hyuju and Kasuk. Speaker, this was normal. I have a very strange thing these days. What is it? After my mother died, I don't know who it was, but she gave me chestnuts and matsutake every day. Who? I don't know that. I'm going to leave it behind while I don't know. Gon followed them. Really? Even if it's true, if you think it's a lie, come see it tomorrow. I'll show you the chestnut. Yes. Well, there's something weird about it. Then the two of them walked quietly. Kasuke looked behind him. Gon was startled and stopped standing. Kasuke didn't notice Gon. He just walked away. When they came to the house of a guest called Kishibe, the two of them went in there. Pawn, 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 there's a wooden fish sound. There's a light on the window sill. A big bald head was reflected and moving. Gon was crouching by the well, thinking, oh, there's an omen. After a while, 3 more people were brought in, and they went into Kishibe's house. Pardon me. The two who go into Kishibe's house. I'm sure the shape of the ministers lived there. There was some form of order. I'll go see too. No problem. Let's go. You're going to be right there. I've already been looking for you for your whole life, Puan. Just you wait around here. Gon followed them, thinking that he would hear the story of the two. He stepped on Hyoju's shadow hat. When he came to the front of the castle, Kasuke said, the story just now must be the work of God. What? Hyoju was surprised and looked at Kasuke's face. I've been thinking about it since then, but it's not human. It's God. God will bless you with a lot of things, thinking that you are the only one. Is that so? That's right. So you should thank God every day. That's right. Gon said, oh, this guy is boring. I thought. I'll bring you chestnuts and matsutake mushrooms, but don't thank me. If you thank God, I won't get along with you. 6. The next day, Gon went out to Hyoju's house with chestnuts. Hyoju was playing with a stick. So Gon sneaked into the house from the back of the house. At that time, Hyoju suddenly raised his face. And the fox entered the house. The fox stole the eel the other day. That little fox came to play again. All right. Hyoju stood up. He took the Hanawa gun on Naya and filled it with gunpowder. And he clearly saw that Hanawa would. So the fox stole the eel. So the fox fled from the wild. But the fox ran away for a while. He wearing a high dress suit, making a serious game. And he suddenly fell down. He's a big fox. When he looked inside, he noticed that the chestnut was solidified in the mud. He was surprised and looked at Gon. Gon, was it you? You were always late. Gon closed his eyes and nodded. Hyoju took the chestnut down. The blue smoke was still coming out of the mouth. The end.